Hi, Breezies. Just getting set up here. Gonna do some final wet sanding. Hopefully on this side. I ran down the other side last night, and it still a couple of spots I need to get on there with the primer again. Then a couple of spots on the hood that I need to do. And now I'm gonna check this side out today and see what I need to do on here. Bounced out of the chat for just a second. I used to using this damn Chromebook. I'm just gonna copy a link to. There it is. See if anybody pops in. Share the link to the Hangout. Get the chat back open here. All right. Trying the camera up high today. I don't know what the quality of the stream is. I'm over here on a metal cabinet. Actually, an old candy machine, but it's basically a metal cabinet. See what happens here. Glasses on. I'm gonna rub this down a little bit. Look for imperfections. And then I get some. Oh yeah. Somebody's smoking some meat. I might do some meat after a while. Check my messages, you know. Oh my. Did the other side last night. My shoulder's not ready to start yet. But I'm about to get with it. Gotta get with it. Hello, El Camino. Just getting some links shared out. And I was just telling Breezy's there, I'm going to run down this side and check it for the last, hopefully the last imperfections. Found about 3 places on the other side I'm gonna hit with primer, and then a couple of places on the hood yet. I'm gonna do the final rundown on this and see how many more spots I've got to reprime on this or touch up. So that's what I'm gonna do today. And you're all welcome to join. I sent a link out on the Hangouts to the Small Engine Nation crew. Yeah, sometimes my keyboard doesn't type what I'm telling it to do. It types other stuff like that. And then the speak and spell things are worse. You got to proofread your messages before you send them. Run it down. Running this down again with 400. I'm pretty confident in the front fender, but the door and the quarter panel I need to know more about. Then we'll 600 that. Mostly there's dirt on there. Get her slicked off again and get a little bit of overspray from the other primer off of it. And I can feel it and see it. Pretty confident, like I said, in the front fender here. Although I did find a ding on the other side. There's always going to be a few that slip past me. Looking pretty sweet. Pretty sure I can paint that today. We gotta get the rest of it ready. Now, a lot on the labor, a lot of labor. See you, El Camino. Place the floor. I had to replace about half the floor in this car. Most of the trunk floor. A few patches on the rest of the body. Not everybody has a rust-free car. Especially if it came from Missouri. Over this car's lifetime, I'm sure it saw a lot of dirt roads, a lot of salt, and it has been inside for the last 30 years. Roughly almost 30 years. 7-year life. A little bit something going on right in the middle here. That's a hard edge to do. Not bad. It's not bad. What the hell? There's a crater over here. There's the first spot of primer. It'll be right here where the door handle was removed. Just a fuzz low. Burn through on the edge and over here. I still got some of that black overspray showing, kind of a guide coat from feathering this down. Body saw. Is that like a reciprocating saw? Is that what you're talking about, El Camino? I used to use a jigsaw when I first started doing this stuff forever ago. It's because it's what I had. It was a little electric jigsaw. It actually was my dad's jigsaw, and it'll cut metal pretty smooth without, if the blade catches though. Being you're just doing floor work, it's probably not important, but if you're putting nice skins together, the jigsaw will actually pull the metal and stretch it. And then if you look down the edge you've cut, it's got a little bit of waviness to it. But for years after I got done with the jigsaw, I got the 4-inch cutoff abrasive tool. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And the other tool I want to show you is in the back here. Grab that one. And then after I got done with the jigsaw, I graduated to this. And I cut miles and miles with this and another one. As you can tell, this one's held together by hose clamps. It's got many miles on it. I don't know how many of the countless discs I run off of this cheap thing, but this cuts sheet metal really nice. And especially if you're in like a panel, you know, and you take your time, it doesn't distort the panel at all. But most recently, a couple years ago, I acquired one of these with the thin blade on it. This thing I call the butter knife. I don't know how I didn't get along with a nice big grinder with that big thin blade on it. I mean, if you're sectioning cars and cutting cars or doing any work, doing any kind of metal work, fabricating work, I cut box steel with this, strap steel, frames, anything you want to cut. This thing cuts it like butter. It's this here happens to be the Bosch AG60-125. I think these things are about $100.50. I bought one for my buddy for Christmas, and he watched my dogs and stuff for me, and so I got him one of these. And they will cut some stuff, man. If you got a lot of cutting to do, this is a ticket. If you got air, this works nice without distorting the sheet metal. One of those saws is probably, yeah, it's a 6-inch, Brian. 6-inch capacity. This thing, I've used it for fabricating. Just got it a few years ago. I don't know how long you've been in, but prior to that, I used this to do all my cutting of sheet metal. Prior to this, I used a little electric jigsaw that my dad had. I cut stuff with that, but like I said, the blade catch once in a while, and it'll leave you distortion on your finish panels. Floor work, though, a jigsaw or one of those little reciprocating saws would be fine and dandy, because you know it's not like it's finished body work. It's just a floor. My floors aren't that pretty in here. I hammered one out of them over a wood block. And depending on your air capacity, I got a pretty good sized compressor, so I can pretty much let this thing eat when I was using it. But this is much better if you can be careful with it. It's awfully large. Try to check the chat more frequently. Sometimes I get going here to lose track. So far, I found one place on this side where the old door handle was here. You can see the black area showing up there that still a little low. Just cleaning things up here a little bit, do a better inspection and see which places need a little attention yet. Kind of nice to get this done. Right, right. Whatever's economical. If you're not going to use it that often, uh, do with what the budget can allow. Absolutely. And you can always resell stuff too. I know once you get a tool, you hate to turn loose of it, but I did acquire years ago. I had a battery operated sawzall, electric sawzall, and that was pretty handy. But again, the price, you start to get up there in price depending on what you get. Uh, Most recently, I acquired was doing some remodel work, bathroom floor in the house a couple, 3 years ago. And I needed a sawzall that day. So I went to the Harbor Freight and got the variable speed when I don't remember what I gave for it, somewhere around $50, 39 bucks or something. And I think I've used it once since then. So that was one of those one-time use for me. I rarely use the damn sawzall, but I do have it if I need it. But more so, I use that for the carpentry work. Nice to get far enough along to get primer on this girl this weekend, or paint on her. Definitely gonna get some more primer on her. So I have to run over everything again with 600. This is actually a wore out piece of 400 I got on here. And make it more slicker. It had all been sanded a few times, but just gonna clean her up here and see exactly what I got. Then we'll probably go down to the 600 after I prime the next time. A lot of dirt, a little overspray from painting the roof and that. Primer. Oh, find something right here. I don't think it's anything that's gonna not go away. That just about took it out. You definitely make a lot more dust and sparks with the cutoff wheels. If you're working around raw stuff, that's fine, but you got the interior in that car. You don't want all that crap getting up behind the instrument cluster. And no, I agree, around the glass and whatnot. If you're working with a raw product with no glass in it, no interior, they're fast. Like I said, you're not going to use the thing but a few times. Buy the most economical tool that'll get the job done. Sucks to have an expensive tool laying around that you're never going to use or use so infrequently. I was on Tool Truck last week. I bought a hat from the Snap-on guy, a ball cap, and I looked around at other stuff, but man, I got a couple boxes of tools. over there. And none of them are nice, you know, too nice tools, but yeah, $20, you can't go wrong. Like I said, if you can keep all the debris off of everything you want, you know, the saw will work, or the cutoff tool if you can keep the debris off. But nah, $20, you can't go wrong. I bought several of those. I think that one there I paid $20 for at a tent sale, you know. Of course, I run 175 psi. Morning go-karts. And first few times I used it, it blew the whole end out of it. So I got the hose clamps on it. Been running them ever since. ABS small engines. Just trying to rub the last imperfections out of this girl. A few more places to prime, which I'd like to do here a little bit. Get it down to locating all the spots I need to run over. Just about gone right here. Had a spot. Most exercise I've got in a while. Sweet. So far the fender looks good. The door's good except right here. Need to hit that. Sweetheart area is nice on this one. This will come out. Let's do this right here. Reblock it. About 3 places on the other side. I gotta check the quarter panel. Hopefully this will be the last cleanup, the last round of primer. I always say that, but I always find more. When it's wet, you can see what you got. Yeah, an economical sawzall would do the trick. Get a fine tooth blade. Doesn't catch on the sheet metal as bad. You never stop rubbing them. You're rubbing the metal. You're rubbing the primer off. Once you get the paint on, you start rubbing the paint back off, washing it. Right. Right. Looks good. So far back. This will be fine. Fender's good. What I see here, all the way down the edge, pretty good shape. Quarter panel's pretty good shape. Lower quarter. Check the tail. Just got a little scratching on it. That's all there is to it. Dremel will work. Take more time. Depends on how big a panel you got. New paper. Somewhere. Oh, I had a piece of 400. Already creased off. But this is 600. There we go. Not ready for the 600 yet. Getting closer. And another 400 over it. I would have ran that one further, but it was done. It's kind of nice when you get down to the last bit to keep using that extremely worn piece of 400. Yeah, it's not thick, and it depends on how big a spot you got to cut out. Your Dremel tool will be fine. Take your time with it. Kind of like the perspective of the streamer up here. It's easy to read. Did you buy a replacement panel, or are you just gonna hammer out a piece of sheet metal? Small areas, a lot of small pieces. Gotcha. Yeah, if you got a set of 10 snips, you can cut your new pieces out of that. Or use the Dremel for those. Been a few years back, we had I scrapped out an old 70s Lincoln, and I did a T-Bird too, and they had those huge flat hoods on them. I just took the cutter and cut the center out of it, stuck the old sheet metal behind the toolbox over there. Had a lot of strange background noises. Traffic on the highway, noise in the building. I had the fans running one time, and it caused some weird reverberation. Truck went by a minute ago, the highway. I don't know if this cabinet could be vibrating. It's not plugged in. It's got a few lights clamped to it. Ceiling fan is running. Some caused a weird feedback one time when I streamed. It was one of these fans. I don't think it was a ceiling fan. Unless it's an electrical issue. This device device is not even plugged in. It is sitting on a metal cabinet. It was a loud truck went by. I don't know if that was it or not. If it rains any at all, you can't communicate in this garage. Poorly insulated ceiling and metal roof. It gets pretty loud in here. The wind's blowing, the garage door's creaking a little bit. Might be some of the noise. That there, I think that's a bird. Car door. Do we still have noise? Something rattling. I think I can deal with that. So far it's right here. Gotta do the lower panel. The only thing on the upper panel is the door handle area. A little low right there. The noise is still there, huh? I don't think there's anything on in that cabinet there. Set you guys on the trash can here a little bit. How about now? Still got a crazy background noise? neighbor's weed eating, but man, I can barely hear that. See you later, Brian. Take care, buddy. Still there. Have a damn. All right. Yep. I'll try to reboot the stream. Maybe that'll help. See what else is on in there. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I'm going to reboot. I'll probably be back in here in a few minutes. Tits up.